Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time here, I'm really glad you clicked on this video. Today we're diving into a name that's been popping up in conversations, headlines, and debates for years now, Scott Adams. You might know him as the creator of the famous Dilbert comic strip, but his story goes far beyond office jokes and stick-figure managers. So let's take a calm, thoughtful, and honest look at who Scott Adams is, why he's such a talked-about figure, and what his journey can teach us about creativity, influence, and speaking in public spaces. Scott Adams first became widely known through Dilbert, a comic strip that perfectly captured the frustrations, absurdities, and humor of office life. If you've ever sat through a pointless meeting, dealt with confusing corporate policies, or wondered how certain people ended up in leadership roles, Dilbert probably felt painfully accurate. That relatability is what made it special. It wasn't just funny, it felt true. And that makes you wonder, why does humor about work resonate so deeply with so many people? Is it just laughter, or is it a quiet way of coping with everyday stress? At its height, Dilbert was everywhere: newspapers, calendars, books, office walls. It became a shared language among workers across industries. Scott Adams tapped into something universal, the feeling of being a small cog in a very strange machine. But what's interesting is that Adams himself once worked in corporate jobs before becoming famous. That first-hand experience shaped the comic's voice. It wasn't imagined frustration, it was observed. And that raises an important question: do the most impactful creators succeed because they truly understand the world they're commenting on? Over time, Scott Adams began to branch out beyond comics. He wrote books, spoke publicly, and shared ideas about persuasion, psychology, success, and human behavior. Many people found these ideas insightful, especially his focus on how narratives and framing influence the way people think. He often emphasized that logic alone doesn't drive human decisions, emotion does. When you stop and think about it, that's not just true in politics or media, but in everyday life too. How often do we believe something because it feels right rather than because we've carefully examined it? As his public voice grew, so did the reactions to it. Some people appreciated his blunt style and unconventional thinking. Others felt uncomfortable with certain opinions he expressed. And this is where Scott Adams became more than just a cartoonist, he became a controversial public figure. That shift brings up an important question for all of us. When someone becomes famous for one thing, do they automatically gain credibility in others? And how do we decide which voices we trust? One of the most fascinating parts of Scott Adams' story is how it reflects the modern media landscape. Years ago, creators spoke through newspapers and publishers. Today, ideas travel instantly through social media, podcasts, and video platforms. That means opinions spread faster, reactions are stronger, and misunderstandings can escalate quickly. In this environment, public figures are constantly being interpreted, criticized, defended, and reinterpreted again. So here's something to think about. Does the internet encourage thoughtful discussion, or does it reward the loudest reactions? Another layer to this conversation is separating the work from the creator. Many people still admire Dilbert for what it was, a clever, relatable take on work culture. Others struggle with that separation because of things Adams has said later in life. This is not a simple issue, and there's no single right answer. Can you appreciate art without agreeing with everything its creator believes? And should a person's later actions redefine how we view their earlier contributions? Scott Adams' career also highlights how success can evolve in unexpected ways. He didn't start out trying to be a cultural commentator. He wanted to make comics. But success gave him a platform, and a platform brings responsibility, whether someone wants it or not. That's something worth reflecting on, especially in a world where anyone can go viral overnight. If your words suddenly reached millions, how would you handle that responsibility? Whether you admire Scott Adams, disagree with him, or feel conflicted about his legacy, his story opens the door to bigger conversations. It's about creativity meeting influence, humor meeting ideology, and how public voices shape, and are shaped by, the times they live in. It also reminds us that people are complex, careers are long, and public opinion is rarely fixed. So I'll leave you with this. How do you personally navigate separating ideas from individuals? Do you think creators owe their audience alignment or just honesty? And how much responsibility should come with having a large platform? If you enjoyed this discussion and found it thoughtful or interesting, go ahead and give the video a like. It really helps the channel. Share it with someone who enjoys deeper conversations about culture and creativity, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.